I forgot 30 meters. Don't love that that is not. I'm gonna readjust that.
Welcome back to Heartland Ham Radio. I'm Michael, Alpha Foxtrot Zero Foxtrot, and today we're diving into part 2 of my DX Commander Signature 9 HF antenna build. In part 1, we tackled a lot of the prep work for this antenna. We made the labels, cut the elements, got the tension loops and foldovers put in, we crimped and soldered everything, and we got around to getting the ground post installed. Now it's time for the fun stuff. Here in part 2, we'll be assembling the mast, installing the radials, and putting all the antenna elements together. I'll walk you through the final tuning process, and I'll show you some of my very first contacts on this antenna. If you've been curious about how this antenna comes together, stick around, because finally, after several days of work, this is where it all comes to life. Now let's get started with part 2.
All right, last time I had put the driven plate, wing nuts, and bolts through with the washers. Before I did that though, I had labeled in Sharpie all of these bolts. What I realized is when I put the wing nuts on, some of the labels got covered up, so I wrote it just a little bit too close. So I've decided I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and I just used my label printer. I am going to print some short labels that will just lay across there and just be a little neater. So I will get these cut off and put on. Cool thing is about Sharpie, just a little bit of rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip. It'll take the label right off. I could just stick it over top, but again, I don't know. Well, maybe it's not going to take that off. All right, so adjustment to plans. Turns out rubbing alcohol did not take the Sharpie off like I thought it would. Worked on another project I did. It did lighten it up a little bit, but I also realized that I forgot 30 meters. So I made a new set of labels of 30 meters. I'm going to go ahead and just back all of these bolts out. And I'm just going to flip this over. The Sharpie will stay on the downside, and then I'll get these remade. Okay, so with the plate labeled, I've slipped the driven plate on the outside of the DX Commander Signature 9 pole. It says it's tight fit, but I think they probably adjusted this. This actually slipped down really nice. The only part I had a little trouble is there's just a little bit of thickness for the DX Commander logo. So just wiggled over that, but is all good. So yeah, it just sits down here, slides all the way to the bottom of the end cap. We'll unscrew this before we install it and slip it over the ground mounted pole, but that worked pretty well. So now I'm gonna attach some of the clamps on there for the driven plate, and what that does is that holds the plate to the pole. So when it's under tension and the elements are going up the pole and we're pulling those tight, the clamp on here will hold that driven plate from sliding up. I'm gonna do that next. Okay, so I did go ahead and put the cap back on the end. You have to take this off to slip this over the top. I'm gonna put the cap on. Since I've learned, if you tip this at all those telescoping pole will slide out across the room. It's really a nice setup. This is a high quality fiberglass mast. But I've just got to put the end cap on so that if I tip this, I don't have the elements go 30 feet across the room. I'm gonna go ahead and put the hose clamp on now. All right, so we're starting to get where there's gonna be a lot of connections. I'm gonna try and do this in a spot that is not gonna be super intrusive. Just gonna make sure that's seated down there nice and tight. Also wanna make sure I get that to a spot where I can take it off when the radials and everything are attached. So I'm just gonna tighten this down there nice and tight. Okay, then Colin says to go ahead and clip this tail off, so I'm just gonna get a pair of side cutters and clip that off. Probably clip it all the way back tight, because if I do need to put this back on, I just want to leave a little bit of a tail there so I can get that back off if I need to. I don't love that that is not. I'm going to readjust that. Clean that up just a smidge. Okay. All right, so we got the driven element plate on. All right, starting to take form.
So after a very long day yesterday, assembling the mast, getting the radials installed, getting the antenna elements strung together, and then to run the SWR test as it was getting dark outside, I was feeling pretty deflated. I did some research after I came back inside, and I found this tip on Callum's instructions. The tip says, also check the SWR meter on your radio, if you have one, actually in the shack. SWR decreases with coax length, and you might discover that either A, your analyzer or patch lead was playing up, or B, the problem went away. I took my rig expert up into the shack, and I ran the SWR sweeps again. They were significantly better, so I was feeling a lot better about that. So let's start to measure the SWR and do the final trims as we begin to tune and seal up the final pieces of our DX Commander. And that's a wrap on my DX Commander Signature 9 build. This was an incredibly fun project, for the most part. Somewhat frustrating at certain points, but that was mostly on me. Bottom line, this is an incredible antenna. It's well designed, very high quality, and a noticeable upgrade over my off-center fed dipole. I get so many compliments on my signal, and I had contacts with 75 countries in the CQ Worldwide DX contest, and 84 out of 85 sections in the ARRL November Sweepstakes SSB, all with just my 100 watts and my FT-DX10. I am so incredibly happy. This antenna goes up and comes down very quickly too. If a bad snowstorm or ice storm is rolling in, I can have this antenna safely on the ground in less than 30 seconds. I've learned so much, not only about the DX Commander Signature 9 antenna, but also about putting together a longer form video like this. If you found anything in this two-part series even slightly helpful or mildly entertaining or even intriguing, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more ham radio projects like this, as well as get notified of any of my live streams. And if you have any questions or want to share your own DX Commander experience, drop me a comment below. I'm also good on QRZ. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Until next time, I'm Michael, Alpha Foxtrot 0 Foxtrot. I hope to hear you on the air real soon. 73.